Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat with Dr. Foojan.
Welcome to the Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Foojan Zeine, a psychotherapist and author and the creator of the awareness integration theory. So thrilled to have you join me today for what I promise you to be an insightful, useful, enticing discussion. Today, I chat with Tama Kieves. She's an honors graduate of Harvard Law School, left her law practice to write and help others live and breathe their most meaningful self-expression. She's the best-selling author of A Year Without Fear, 365 Days of Magnificence. And her newest book, which today we're going to be talking about, is Learning to Trust Yourself, breaking through the blocks and hold whatever it is that is holding you back. She's been featured in USA Today, Oprah Media, TEDx, and more. She is a sought-after speaker and a visionary career and success coach who's helped thousands of people worldwide to discover, launch, and thrive in their life, calling their life calling and work of their dreams. She's been on the faculty of premier holistic venues, leads online programs, and has also taught a course in miracles for years. Tama is known for her smart spirituality, electric humor, and a big possibility she brings out in others. So you can join her in her social media and sign up for her free fortune cookies digital doses. She actually offers a gift at the end of the show. So it's inspiring. We talked about how to trust yourself, how to look at your inner voice, appropriate. The whole show is called Inner Voice. And to look at what your blocks are, what's stopping you, and how to trust yourself. So I'm positive you will enjoy this conversation as much as I did and as much as I learned from her. Now, be sure to subscribe to this podcast, my YouTube channel, and connect with me through my website, foojanzeine.com. Be sure to go and get and download Foojan app. You can get it from Apple or Google Play. You can go through 31 areas of your life, do guided journaling. And you also have Mira in there, which is the AI companion. You can ask any questions you like, and Mira will answer you any time of the day from awareness integration theory. So everything that I've ever learned, Mira is going to be able to share with you at any time. All right. So share your thoughts with me. Email me or go to social media and, send me a message because I love to hear from you. And without further ado,
listen up if you want to promote your personal growth and self-awareness. I found the Foojan app last month and I have been absolutely loving it. I personally have never learned guided meditation, but thanks to this app, I now have learned incredible tools for my own stress relief and emotional self-awareness. Not to mention, there are self-evaluation tools and professional coaching available to utilize however your journey to self-discovery takes you. Join Foojan today and redefine your life one step at a time.
Do you wish to wake up one day and hit the life reset button? Life Reset, the awareness integration path to create the life you want by Dr. Foojan Zeine, helps you navigate crucial life areas, heal the past traumas, and cultivate fulfilling relationships and careers. Life Reset is your guide to a profound journey to reshape your life. Grab your copy on Amazon or Audible now and embark on a path to a more joyous and fulfilled life.
It is such a joy to have you with us, Tama Kieves. Everyone, it's so beautiful to have an opportunity to talk to you, especially, Tama, about one of the conversations that is so much of a core to every single human being. So first, I just want to say hello.
Hello. It's great to be here.
Thank you. And the name of your book is Learning to Trust Yourself. And that is so true because it's interesting that we kind of are born in the experience of trusting ourselves, and then we kind of lose it we gotta relearn how to come back to trust ourselves, right? So, I mean, as an infant, we just kind of trust that whatever is around us, we're going to pick it up, we're going to, say it the way it is, or do what they're telling us to do, or mimic what the world is trying to do. And we observe, take in, make it our own, and kind of like move on. And then something in the middle changes, which the society and our parents could say, don't do this, don't do that. No. So somewhere in the middle of all of this, we forget
Yes.
that it's, the mechanism is already there. And you beautifully bring this in this book and share it. It's an amazing read. You have such a good way of sharing your sentences. So all of that. But before we get there, you were an attorney. You went to Harvard Law School. You had your practice and all of that. And then something shifted, and this is what you want to do. So can you first about that?
And it leads in exactly what you're talking about. So it's perfect, because when people always ask me, like about trusting yourself, for me, I came on that message as so critical and important to becoming everything you're meant to be in this life, because I didn't do it. Because I didn't trust myself, because I started listening to everybody else, exactly like what you said, the cultural, intelligence, or what you're supposed to do. And so when I was young, I knew that I wanted to be a writer. That's what I dreamed of. That's what I really wanted. And I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, to an Orthodox Jewish family. And so if you wanted to be a writer, this wasn't good news. Nobody said Mazel Tov. My mother said, you're going to write? You're going to starve. You're going to write. It was just this dramatic thing. And I got that message that don't trust yourself. Don't trust what you love. Don't trust what your heart is telling you. Don't trust what your instincts are telling you. And so I shut it down, and I went to law school, and I went to Harvard Law School, and I graduated with honors, Harvard Law School. And I was on partnership track at a major law firm. And I was so unhappy. I was just so unhappy. And I think there are so many people out there that can resonate, that they're in the right life, whatever that is for you, what you were supposed to do, what the party line was. But it feels so empty. I just kept feeling scared, because I felt like, oh my God, I have everything they say you should have, but I feel miserable. And thank God a friend of mine said something amazing. He said, if you've been this successful doing something you don't even love, what could you do with what you love?
Wow.
Right. And so it was my first aha of what happens if this time I trust myself? What happens if this time, instead of fighting my instincts and squelching my instincts and squelching my desires, I start fighting for them, or I start listening to them? So that started my whole journey of, becoming a writer and a speaker and a coach and all of that. So I'm a fan of trusting yourself.
Beautiful. You wrote beautifully. You said your life purpose is to listen to your inner voice, but to listen to the voice of love inside, instead of the voice of fear. That's so beautiful, because it's true. Many times when, we interject everything that's out there, right? As a child, we pick up all messages. Mm-hmm. And obviously our system holds on to the fear messages more, because we need to protect ourselves, right? So a lot of times we dump the loving messages or supportive messages, and we hold on to the fear messages. And I'm sure everybody who's with us have experienced this, that you go to a place and 10 people, they say, oh my God, you look beautiful, you're such a da-da-da-da, and we're like, yeah, thank you. They're just being the person says, oh my God, I heard you say such and such. Oh, you don't look good. And that's the one we hold on to.
Yes.
For weeks. So there is a part of us that is set up to hold on to the fear, again, for good reason, but it doesn't work when that's the only thing that we hold on to. And you bring us in this book and looking back at, all right, well, look at the fear, because obviously, there are chapters that you talk about. Yes, you got to risk, you got to do this, you got to do that. But to keep coming back,
You nailed it. I mean, seriously, that is exactly it. Is that for me is the core principle, right? Is like, can we learn to listen to an inner voice of love, an inner voice of strength, instead of an inner voice of fear and an inner voice of weakness? And to your point, I thought that being cruel with myself or harsh with myself was good strategy. I thought that was, it was just being realistic. It was just being practical. You have to push yourself. I'm an achiever by nature. And so I thought, well, I don't want to get lazy. I don't want to just believe in myself. I don't want to just, trust myself. And I've talked to so many people, and it's that we fear listening to that love inside us or that kindness. But here's the thing I want people to know is that you literally sabotage your own genius, your own ability to be in the zone, to have this infinite creativity, this higher intelligence within each of us when we listen to self-criticism. And so that self-critical voice is stopping you from everything you really want. In the name of your intelligence, you're blocking this higher intelligence. So it looked like you were going to chime in there.
Yeah, because as you were talking, it came up for me that we use that voice, the critical voice,
Yes.
almost to discipline ourselves.
Yes.
We want to grow, we want to move forward. Again, we introjected it from our parents that the more they were critical, obviously we took it. But again, the critical voice seems to have a purpose for a point of, okay, I'm not going to let you be lazy or procrastinate or indulge in things that are not good for you. So I'm just going to do that with critical voice of disciplining you. And yet all research has shown that people learn through loving messages. They learn through, great mentors, the ones that they kind of held them in their brilliance versus broke them down. Like, you have never heard somebody say that I was broken down completely and then I found my brilliance, right? Even if those that were broken down due to whether it was trauma or anything else, they usually remember there was one person
who believed in you. Yes.
Believed in you and shared with you and told you how brilliant you could be. So based on that is like, even if we wanted to discipline ourselves,
yes,
the one way to do it is
through kindness, is that we want to achieve. You want to be what you're meant to be. I deeply believe that every person already has a path inside them, an inner genius inside them to everything they really truly want to be. We want that instinctively. We don't need the harshness. And in fact, again, I'll just say it, that voice of self-negation will block everything. And the practical example I can always offer is, I'm a writer and I create for a living, right? So I create classes or whatever. When I sit down to the computer and I have a voice that says, you better write a bestseller, you better be creative now, or you're going to use the word how uncreative, right? Like all of that, it just shuts me down. There is no way to hear anything else. For me to be in my zone, I have to be listening to encouraging internal messages of, let's be safe, you can do this, let's trust this, let's play with this. And most of us, again, we're so outcome oriented and we're so rushing for a result and we're so rushing to prove ourselves that we really don't listen to that genius that's inside you, that's sideways, and it's only going to come when you're safe, when you're really safe and you're just befriending yourself. I think that it's the greatest lesson I've personally had to learn. I mean, that's what this book is really about for me. And it's one of the things I've had to learn is that when I changed the relationship with myself, everything in my life changed. I kept thinking I was going to be happy because I was going to get all these things out externally done. But when I really started changing the relationship with myself, it was like, oh my God, there were abilities I didn't even know I had, capacities I didn't even know I had. And I've seen it with my clients as well. It's that we all have such astonishing capacities. We've scratched the surface, but we've learned this harsh way and it's blocking us.
Yes. I remember I was 18 and I thought, who do I intend to be when I grow up? And it was more like, I'm going to have my business. I'm going to be married. I'm going to have my house, such and such a place with a picket fence and, all of that. And by age 30, 28, actually, I had it all, right? I had the business, I had the husband, I had the house, I had all of that. And like you said, I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, no, this is not happy. I'm not happy at all. This is not what I call happiness.
Mm.
And got lost a little bit. And throughout the whole time, I had lost my essence of who do I need to be, because I was always like, I need to be whomever everybody else says that I need to be. And, then I went to like seminars and therapy and stuff. And I found that, being a therapist is my calling. And this is truly like being with the privilege of being with other human beings and going through the journey with them of inner discovery. It was amazing. So
I mean, to your point that way, I love that story. And I'm grateful that you did what you did, because again, you're doing what you're meant to do. You're impacting thousands of people because of that decision. To me, that is the hope for all of us, that we all have gifts, we all have abilities, we all have genius. And it's like if we were listening to ourselves. And to your point, most of us don't even know what we want or really know, because again, we've been so programmed. This is I need the picket fence. I need this. I need that. I was that person of tell me how to get an A. Tell me which hoops to jump through. I will jump through whatever you tell me. I had no idea that there were other answers in me, because we're not taught how to listen to ourselves. We're not taught how to befriend maybe desires that you have that are outside of the normal realm that you think, right? Because like for me, being a writer, that was like so not okay. That was like in my family, that was like being a drug addict, like in my family, it's like, you want to be creative, you're going to sleep under a bridge, it was so forbidden to even think like that. And people do this to themselves all the time. They think I'm too old, or I'll never meet the love of my life because I'm not a blonde, or because this or because that. And it's daring to start listening to the unique path that's inside you and getting behind yourself and discovering what's possible.
You're right. We're not awake. We are on the take. I love that sentence.
Yes, it's just because when I said what I meant by that was like I was always so busy getting, trying to get, right? Like if I could get more things, I'd be okay. Or if I could check more off my list, I'd be okay. And it never worked, right? I was just in that acquiring mindset where what we really want is to be awake. What we really want is to be alive. What we really want is to be loving, God forbid, ourselves, right? God forbid, loving our own lives. One of the secrets that I found to like the greatest abundance was not what I thought it was. I thought, figure out what you need to do and go grab it. For me, it was learning how to love the life I had. It was learning how to really take in everything that I have now. And from that place of abundance, there wasn't a sense of lack. And from that, I achieved even more. I experienced even more. But even more importantly, it's like what we were just talking about before, it felt fulfilling. I see so many people attacking their own lives, right? Just like criticizing their own lives. I'm not enough this, and I should have had that, and I don't have the right, I don't have the right countertops. Like other people have the better countertop. I mean, like, and it's like for me, it was really learning the practice of I have a concept in the book that says, do you feel like you lack support, or do you support lack? Right. And it's like, I realized how much I was supporting lack. I was looking for all the lack in my life instead of fulfilling myself with everything that was here so that I could really receive it and connect with myself and then create even more.
I love the way you play with words, and throughout your whole book, it makes it really fun to read. Not only gives you the precise meanings of what it what it says, but also a fun concept. When you were sharing that, I remembered I used to journal throughout my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, it was okay. I journaled, and then I would put, a red ink around all the negative stuff. And I looked at the ratio of things that I would go over in my life. And this was like even the life that I created and I designed and I actually like. Remember, I got my business, I got all of that. And I'm still journaling. And I'm like, I get everything I want. And I'm still looking at the way that I speak about myself and to myself. And these are all the negativity that, it's like 90% negative and possibly 10% positive that I'm sharing with myself. So it's like just the awareness of that. It's like, can you be awake? And the awareness of how do I talk to myself? What are my views toward myself? It could really support. And you have a lot of great exercises in each chapter and how to come back and journal and look and become aware of what you do, and then turn around and, look at it the other way. The main point that many people ask though is, how do I trust myself? What voice am I listening to? And how do I create and foster the inner voice that is moving me forward? Because, obviously I also work with people who go through addiction and illnesses and many of those. And sometimes there's a confusing message because sometimes our brain plays a game with us. And, sometimes you're at a place where there's a decision to be made, whether you need to let go of your job and go to another job, whether you're letting go of a relationship, where there's some decisions that as they're listening to their different parts of themselves, it's a dialogue which sometimes doesn't go very well between the two parts. So part of the question, and as you were giving exercises for people who are reading your book, in how to find the voice to trust, can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I think it's the biggest question there is. And again, first of all, it's just paying attention, like you said, about being mindful to how does that voice sound, right? If it's being harsh or critical, because my negative voice has gotten smart now, right? So now it'll say stuff like, you didn't meditate, you idiot, so it's in the past, it would have made fun of meditation, right? So first off, I listen to the tone, right? I always listen to the tone. But I guess the even deeper thing within it, what I would tell people, let's say you're making a major decision and you're thinking, I've got to make the right one. I've got to make the right one. I would start telling yourself some more positive messages of, you can't get this wrong. You can't get this wrong. There will be infinite chances for you, right? And so there's a line in A Course in Miracles, which is a spiritual study program, that talks a little bit about, you think you're going to make a decision so that you can come to peace of mind. But if you can come to peace of mind first, you'll make the right decision. So what if I were working with somebody to find that right voice, I would at first remind them that it's okay, that we're going to make the right decision from this moment in time. And the thing that I would always pay attention to, if you want to know which voice to listen to, it's, what do you love? What do you love? Right? I always tell them, follow a breadcrumb, because most people are always looking for some big marquee answer, the final outcome, the thing that guarantees something. And a lot of times our lives are transformational. Our lives are there's so much going on. It's a process, and you may not get that big answer. You just get a next step, a next inspired step. And so that's what I look for with people, because sometimes they're trying to make the wrong decision. They're even thinking, I need to figure this out. And when I'm working with them and I'm really asking them what they love, they're making the decision from the framework of something they've already decided. Well, I have to get a job over here in this industry. So should I take this or that? Right? And so again, I always go back to listening to inspired answers. Learning to trust yourself is listening to the next inspiration, the next inspiration. And it may not be what you think. It may even be, I need to rest. What's the right thing right now? I need to rest. doesn't look sexy, doesn't look productive, or I need to call my sister, which has nothing to do with whatever. But this is a sideways magical path that it's a process. And so again, I think the first thing I would always listen to is, if I were being loving, what do I want? What would I love to do right now? What would I love to experience right now?
You say people who don't succeed get in their own way, but people who do succeed actually discover their own way. And this is part of what you were sharing right now, which is sometimes we find a structure and then we're trying to fit into that structure that the outside world has put in. And then we get caught into this, okay, I don't know what that structure wants from me, but I know that I'm not happy with it. But I have to force myself to make a decision.
Yes.
And versus allowing yourself to create this structure within, or allowing to get out of that structure and allow yourself to just see what it is you're loving.
You got it.
The voice telling you something, and then move forward. What I've noticed a lot of times when there's something beyond the structure that we say we want, then the fear shows up because it's beyond the structure, right?
Yes.
So it's unfamiliar, it's uncertain.
Yes.
We don't know how to do that because we've been conditioned to go through the structure, right? Like, you're supposed to go to law school.
Yes.
The conversation about, writing was uncertain in so many different ways.
Yes.
My mother had told me that I had to be a brain surgeon. I had to go to medical school, and that was just, me going to the lab in biology, and I'm like, blood? No, we're not doing this, And I'm supposed to learn every cell, the name of every cell. No, we're not doing this. So there's a part of me that is pushing it away, but there is another part that wants mommy to love me. Obviously, I have to do whatever she wants. So there was a hell of a lot of confusion for many years of this push and pull and push and pull. And then, suddenly I'm like, I sit with people. They trust me. They share their secret with me, and they trust that I would hold it. And somehow, whether it's the listening or this presence or possibly something I say, that it works. And it's like, ooh, that's where I'm going, because that's where it pulls me. It calls me forward. I don't have to call it. It calls me forward.
I love how you said that. That's brilliant. And that really, and you said it so well, of that so many of us get in our own way because we're trying to do what we should, or what other people say, or there's a system, or now on the internet there's 10 steps for everything, and things you should know, right? And discovering your own way feels scary because it's the unknown, like you said. But there is a way that works for each of us. And what you said, it calls you forward, right? There's something that just feels right. When I worked with clients, I noticed that the people who started affirming themselves and started not doubting, is this right? Is this wrong? But just started playing with it and doing the next thing and taking an inspired step, they always got where they needed to go. And I guess the thing I always say to people is, it's not about the steps. It's not about the system or the structure that's out there. Because we all know, if you want to lose weight, right? We all know that, gee, I should probably eat kale instead of lasagna. We probably know that. We know those steps, but we're not taking them, right? We all know the steps, but we don't take them because the relationship with yourself is what matters. It's that you won't take other people's steps. You're meant to discover what's inside you, to take your right steps, your right way. And that will happen by having a different relationship with yourself. And just like you said, something feels like, wow, I don't know what this is, but this feels right. This I can do. This I can sustain. This I can stay with for the rest of my life. That's what discovering your own way is. And that's why most of us get so frustrated when we're trying to do something that doesn't work for us.
Learning to trust yourself, breaking through the blocks that hold you back, by Tama Kieves. So when you look at the blocks, right, there is an experience that happens. For example, sometimes we our body tells us this is not the right thing. And sometimes our result shows us something just that, you want to do, like, I'm going to do this. And then we keep hitting a result that is not working. And then we blame ourselves again. So part of the work, and as you go through the book, kind of opening this up, is to see how do you find your blocks? How do you get out of your blocks? How do you, shift? And sometimes you're like, okay, I don't want to do this, but I don't have any other messages of if I let go of this, what would be out there? Like you knew you wanted to be an author. I didn't know. I just knew that I didn't want to be what everybody told me to be, but I had no idea what to be and how to be, what would make me, and I got myself into, so many different things just to figure this out. And finally, through an experience, you're like, oh, that's it. So based on your experience, how do you recognize these blocks that you're in a place that is not working?
It's a good question.
It is not there.
It's such a good question. And, a lot of times people will always tell me, but Tim, I have evidence of it not working. I have evidence of it, right? And what I always tell people is it's not that reality didn't work for you, your life didn't work for you, your story about it didn't work. It's not just what happened. It's the story we told ourselves about what happened, right? And here's the thing about the brain is that you form a certain story in your brain, and then you find all the things that match that story, right? You have a story, you have a belief, and then you find all the facts that match that belief, and you ignore everything else. There's so much other information. So I'll give you an example of, I've had a story for a long time that says, I never get what I want. I never get what I want. It never, and so like if a client cancels, see, I never get what I want. Speaking engagement didn't come. See, I don't get what I want. Of a lipstick manufacturer stops the color I like. Oh, see, I'm not going to get what I want. And again, I just looked at all the things that matched that. Meanwhile, I was ignoring, I got the house I wanted. I got a purple pen I wanted. I got the books of my dreams published. I got so many things that I wanted, but I had this persistent belief going on that blocked everything. And I'll just tell you a quick story about it of because I tracked it down. And it was like when I was a little girl, I was shopping with my mother in a department store, and I saw these red shoes. And I just like, oh my God, I had to have those red shoes. I wanted them. And my mother was a very practical woman, and my mother was like, oh, you don't need the red shoes, like the green elf shoes are on sale. Let's do that, right? But for some reason that day she bought the red shoes, and it was like, oh my God, I got what I wanted. But then I don't know what happened, but she lost the bag. She lost the shopping bag that the red shoes were in. And so I formed this belief of, I never get what I want. I never get what I want. And really, when you look at it, it's that I took one moment of disappointment or pain, and I made it into this, it's never going to happen. I'll never get what I want, right? And so I literally saw my life that way, and I organized it that way. And my own healing was starting to recognize that block's not even real. And the killer part of this story that's really actually true, I talked to my mother years later. I was talking to her about the red shoes or whatever, and she didn't remember what I was talking about. And then she finally did, and she's like, what are you talking about? We got those shoes. I'm like, no, we didn't. We got them, but then you lost the bag. And she's like, yeah. And then I called the department store, and we went and picked up the bag, and we got those shoes. And I never remembered that. I remembered my belief and my story more than reality. And I think we are all doing that. All of our blocks come down to the way we are seeing things, the way we are interpreting it, the inner story we're telling ourselves. And that's why I work so much with the blocks to get past that, so that you trust yourself, and you start taking in the life that's meant for you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I created a whole psychology concept around how do we do this story. And you're so right that we take something and we generalize it throughout the whole life, and then we make who we are as of that. So absolutely. In 1 minute or so, what is it we haven't shared that you really, really want people to know?
There's so much in 1 minute or so.
Don't do 5 minutes. Don't worry.
I'll do 5 minutes. I'll do 15 minutes worth of no. First, I keep wanting to say this because you had asked me again about how to listen to that inner voice, right? How do you trust yourself? How do you find the voice of love? For me, I use a technique called the inspired self dialogues, and it's my best tool. It's the thing that for me has helped me with anything and everything. And so that's the first thing I want to just share is that for your community, we are giving, I wanted to give a free download if people wanted it. It's a video where I give this, it's the best tool I've ever used. And if you're in fear, you're in confusion, you're not sure what to do, this technique is a journaling technique, and it really helps you listen to that deeper intelligence in you. So it addresses the fear, but it helps you get into the deeper intelligence. And it's a video I made for my clients. You could get it at tamakieves.com, tamakieves.com/, and it's best-tool. So best-tool, tamakieves.com. But the thing I guess I really want people to know more than anything else, really the reason I'm here is I want everyone to know that you are so much more powerful than you know. You are so much more powerful than you know. And that the desires that are in you, the instincts that are in you, that hunch in you, that longing in you, that ache in you, it's not frivolous. It's not something to be pushed aside. It's not something to get on with your life. There are codes within you. There are instructions within you. You are born to be everything you're meant to be. And the world, the world is getting more challenging, right? There's so much going on in the world that can be confusing, and there's so much more information and challenges and changes. Screw information. Let's get to wisdom, your inner wisdom. That again, everything is pushing you, I think, or inviting you to discover your way. And you're so much more powerful than you know. And the final thing I'll just say is that I teach all my clients is when you trust yourself, everything becomes possible. So I'm rooting for all of us.
And where can people find you?
The mothership is tamakieves.com, and there's all kinds of free resources out there. Make sure you get on there's a mailing list that comes out once a week of the inspired fortune cookies. I'm on social media, Instagram, Facebook, everything. We have created a worldwide community of people who are daring to live from inspiration instead of fear. I think that you need to be reminded again and again and again and again how to really listen to yourself, how to choose what inspires you instead of what frightens you. So again, tamakieves.com. And like I said, there's some free resources out there as well. And join me on social media and let's connect.
Beautiful. Tama Kieves, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today and sharing who you are, your journey, and your book and wisdom with everyone.
I'm so honored, and I'm very grateful that you trusted yourself and that you are such a resource to us. I really admire what you do. I'm so grateful for what you do and for all of us who are impacting beautiful people out there.
Thank you. And for all of you who are out there, create an amazing life for yourself and everyone around you. And until next week, bye-bye.
Are you a psychotherapist looking to enhance your practice? The Awareness Integration Therapy developed by Dr. Foojan Zeine is a comprehensive guide to the principle and techniques of this powerful therapeutic approach. Join the growing community who have elevated their practice and expanded their skills by embracing Awareness Integration Therapy and witnessing its life-changing impact. Order your copy on Amazon now.